let's weave with these. But first, we got to put them into balls. So this yarn is yarn that I believe I spun on my spinning wheel when it was operational between previously now when it's broken, and after I managed to repair it again. And this yarn is a 2-ply. It is a 2-ply yarn with a lot of rainbow and sparkly Angelina happening all over in it, and I love it a lot. And we're just going to wind it. Okay, now we have our yarn all in workable forms. So we are going to weave on the pin loom, and I wanted to kind of show an idea of how to weave with, say, either sequins or beads. So we're going to use this first sequence yarn to warp our pin loom. So we're just going to go back and forth. There are many tutorials on how to weave with pin loom, but I'm going to be demonstrating how I do the sequence. So we're weaving back and forth, and if you're new and don't know who I am, my name is Sarah, and it's great to have you here. I'm just going to go back and forth, and I could stop here, but there's only just a few sequins, and we want more. So I'm going to turn my loom and go up next set. And depending on how much sequence we want, it's how many times we go back and forth on our loom before we're going to switch to this non-sequence yarn. The idea being that we can get as many little woven squares as we want with a lot of sequins. And you know what? I think that'll be enough sequins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and cut my yarn right about here. We'll move that off to the side. And I'm going to trim off this knot because that is how I do things. I am just going to tie the yarns together. I will fix that in just a moment. And which way did that go? Right here. Because then as we follow our pin loom, this one has guides on it, we'll just go and kind of make it so that it's weavable. Let's get that loosened up just a bit. Just gonna weave it like this. Now this yarn was spun as both of these are 2-ply. One ball has the sequins spun into it, and the ball I'm working with currently does not. Specifically so that we can thread our needle when we get there with this yarn, and then we don't have to fight sequins. so now probably what's going to happen now that I am actually seeing this, I'm going to go around here 5 times. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and almost 5, because I find that it works just pretty good. So, okay, we are done with these. We can set them off to the side, and we will make sure that little frostbite, who is next to me being a butt, will not get our yarn. And so I'm going to take my yarn and thread my needle. This is the needle that came with the loom. It is a giant metal sharp needle, but the fact that it is metal, like, I don't know why the needle itself is sharp, but that's probably just the way it is, and it works. But the needle has to be sharp, has to be metal, because as we go all the way across, it's very helpful for it to be metal, because there can be a lot of tension, and any other material that this needle could be made out of would probably break it, sometimes with how hard it takes. And that's why, because sometimes you will see me when I am weaving the weft, I will actually not weave all the way across. I will come up, pull my yarn through, and then continue on until the end, because it's less strain on the needle, the warp, the loom, and everything. So this is rainbow fiber that I spun into yarn, and I believe it's the fiber that I blended on my hackle many videos ago, and you can go check out those hackle blending rainbow videos in my fiber blending playlist. I have a lot of videos of fiber blending in that playlist. And so we're just going to weave right across, and the first few times that I did this, I always had to look up how to warp the loom, but then where does my yarn and everything go. But then after a while of doing it so many times, it works extremely well. And the great thing about the woven squares is there's no real right or wrong side typically, but as I can see, most of my sequins are on the bottom. And for demonstration purposes, that's probably a little bit of a bummer, but my thinking is that when I pull this off the loom, the right side, the nice side of my weaving, will be, it's currently face down. Alright, and see, sometimes we get a little problematic, and you can see why this needle has to be metal, because otherwise the amount of flexing would break it. And look at all that rainbow. I don't know if it's not really showing up very well on camera, but if I get close, you can see it. And so I'm just going to let this time lapse here, and I'm not worried about this bit because I'll either trim it or I'll weave it in. It'll look awesome. So, catch you in a bit. And with that, we're done. Would you look at that sparkle? My favorite thing is the sound of removing this off the pins. That's the back side. I can always crochet these ends in or something. And this is the front side. I can move some of these sequins around, but as you can see, they are basically woven in with the square. And that is how you work with beads or larger objects in weaving pin looms. So for this pin loom, just either do, at the very least, don't you use your weft in just simple regular yarn, but the first 3 or 2, in this case warps, have the yarn with your sequins on. And in a future video, I am going to try pre-threading some beads onto really thin hand spun yarn, and that's going to be awesome. I think, hopefully, I think it'll do just fine. So with all that said, go make something sparkle today. Come on back, and do you like this method of pin loom weaving? Let me know in the comments. And as always, again, go make something sparkle today, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care now. Bye.